Swami Bhajanand Ji Maharaj, Swami Sarvabhutananda Ji Maharaj, distinguished Swamis of the Ramakrishna Mission, President of this morning's function, Pandit Vijay Kumar Kichlu, other distinguished speakers on the dais, and music lovers and devotees of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda in the audience. Let me say at the outset, what a pleasure it always is for me to speak at this fine institution, the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture. I remember the late Swami Lokeshwarananda, who was for many years the director and the moving spirit behind this institution. And on several occasions in his presence, I've had the opportunity to speak on various subjects. He was always very, very affectionate. In fact, the two Swamis who have influenced me most in the Ramakrishna Mission were Swami Ranganathananda, who, as you know, founded the Delhi Ashram, and Swami Lokeshwarananda. Anyhow, they have passed away, but the monks of the Ramakrishna Mission have kept up that great tradition, and I would like to congratulate them upon keeping the dynamism and creativity of this institute alive. As you know, we are this year observing the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. A national committee has been set up under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, of which I am also a member. There is an implementation committee, and the opening event took place in Rashtrapati Bhavan 3 or 4 weeks ago. Before, therefore, I proceed to talk about music, I must pay my homage to this extraordinary man who, in the short span of 39 years, brought about a virtual revolution in this country. He did at least 5 different things. He re-articulated the eternal truths of the Vedanta for the modern age. He took the truths of the Upanishads, Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahudha Vadanti, and converted that into the significance of the interreligious movement. The interfaith movement owes its origin to the Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893, where Swamiji, although he was not a delegate, turned up by some divine miracle and made such a tremendous impact. In 1993, 100 years later, again in Chicago, there was the second Parliament was held. The third was held in Cape Town in 1999, the fourth in Barcelona, Spain, 2004, the fifth in Melbourne in 2009, and the next one I think is going to be held in Brussels. In the course of the 20th century, a large number of interfaith organizations came into being. But the progenitor of the idea in the modern age was Swami Vivekananda. And that was a very big service that he rendered to humanity. The second thing that he did was to reawaken the inner spirit of India that lay crushed and prostrate under colonial rule. As you know, the country was going through a very bad period after the uprising of 1857, which we call the First War of Independence. That was brutally crushed. People had begun losing faith in their own culture, and there was darkness and gloom everywhere. At a time like that, a beacon light appeared in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. And that is a story I need not recount here. And Swami Vivekananda, the foremost disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, then took upon himself the task of reawakening the spirit of India. Because if the spirit of a nation is broken, then that nation can never become great. And he was constantly stressing the importance of arising and awaking and moving onwards and having full faith in our civilizational heritage and in our scriptural teachings. That is the second thing that he did. The third thing was he restated and reaffirmed the ancient tradition of Indian unity from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Ase tu Himalaya Paryantam. He travelled literally the length and breadth of India. First of all as a wandering monk, and then later as a victorious hero. But he always stressed the basic unity of India. He was the progenitor of the modern articulation of the spiritual unity of India. And the fourth thing that of course he did was to take the eternal message of India across the seven seas. He spent a lot of time in the United States, in Europe, and he carried this message across to people who had no idea as to what was the real message of India, who looked upon India either as some kind of a backward or strange country with very odd practices, but who never understood the inner spirit, the inner luminosity of the Indian cultural tradition. And Swamiji articulated that brilliantly in his lectures around the world. And finally and fifthly, he set up the Ramakrishna Mission Mutt and Mission in Belur. And that today, a century later, has rendered yeoman service to this country, particularly in terms of helping the poor, helping the needy, the Daridra Narayana, in situations of national disasters. Always the Ramakrishna Mission monks have been in the forefront. And so these five things that Swami Vivekananda did, to my mind, re-articulating the eternal truths of the Vedanta, reawakening the inner spirit of India, restoring the ancient tradition of Indian unity from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, taking the eternal message of India across the seven seas to the wider world, and establishing the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission. These five great and remarkable achievements, even one of them would have been enough to make him an abiding figure in our history. But for one man within a short life of 39 years to have done so much really is quite astounding. Despite all the problems that he was facing in his family and all his relatives and others and all the worries and all that he had this leonine aspect of searching and seeking for the divine. So I would like at the beginning to pay my deep homage to Swamiji and to hope that this 150th anniversary will be the occasion for us to rediscover the depth and the width of Swamiji's contribution. Everybody knows the name of Swami Vivekananda, but not everybody realizes the various areas in which he has made such a significant contribution. When we come to the topic of Indian tradition seeking unity through music, it of course, as has been mentioned by the previous speakers and very competent speeches, by Swamiji, I must say, you're a great scholar of music evidently, and by the others. Music has been an integral part of most civilizations in the world, of which we have any record. But in India particularly, music has been central to our civilizational structure. The Vedas themselves, which are the very origin of our structure, of our spiritual life, are music. Particularly the Samaveda, which is chanted in a musical manner. And that is where really the music began. And down through the long and tortuous corridors of time, with all the ups and downs which we had to face, with all the invasions and the Holocaust and the horrors that we faced, our musical tradition remained intact. The chanting of the Vedas are intact, and as has been mentioned, the various schools of music that have developed have each made a tremendous impact upon our culture. There's first of all, of course, the basic duality of Hindustani music and Karnataka music, and then there are all sorts. There's the Khayal Gayaki, there's the Drupad Gayaki, the Khayal Gayaki, the Thomri Gayaki, the Qawwali Gayaki, the Sufi Gayaki, the folk music. Folk music is very important. People tend to only talk of music in terms of classical music. But the music of the people, the music of the countryside, of the Bawals, for example, which had such a tremendous influence upon Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, or the music of our Pahadi music in Jammu and in Himachal, these are also very much part of our musical tradition. And most of them are addressed, in fact, to gods and goddesses. So music in every one of its incarnations is, as has been said, a universal language. I've sung and recorded on it. I also like rock music. I enjoy it. I listen to it about 1 hour a day. This surprises a lot of people. But why? The beat is the same. The beat is the first sound that the child hears when it is in its mother's womb. The beat of the mother's heart. And that is why the rock beat is so evocative, because it goes back to before our birth. And that beat, that rhythm, forget the words, forget the outer manifestations. That inner beat can also take you forwards on the spiritual path. So any kind of music, I feel, if used creatively, can be a very potent instrument for spiritual growth. And the Qawwali, as has been mentioned, is deeply spiritual. And in Kashmir, because there has been some controversy recently about music in Kashmir, Kashmir has always been the home of music. Acharya Abhinav Gupta, one of the greatest scholars that India has ever produced, he, as you know, wrote his commentary on Bharata's Natya Shastra. Himself, he was a great musician, and music was very much part of Kashmir Shaivism, as Professor Kichlu has just told us. And there is also the great poetess and saint Lalleshwari, or Laldev, who went around Kashmir singing her songs, and to this day, her message is remembered, a message of unity between Hindus and Muslims, a message of love for Lord Shiva, a message of devotion to the divine. And then there was Haba Khatun, the queen of Kashmir, married to Yusuf Shah Chak. She was the beautiful singer. And there's a very interesting story that there was a Qazi at that time who had banned singing. You know, there are some people in Islam who have the mistaken notion that music is in some way anti-Islam. And he had banned music. Now, Haba Khatun herself was a great musician. So what she did one day was, she went into the Dal Lake in a houseboat, hidden. And when the Qazi used to come every morning for wuzu to wash your feet in the lake. So she waited. Qazi put one foot into the water. She threw off her veil and started singing. And the whole of Srinagar came and went, and the Qazi was still standing there with one foot in the water and one foot outside, mesmerized by the voice and the song of this great artist. And from that day then, he withdrew the fatwa against music. So Kashmir music has been very important and remains very important there. Now the question of unity. The Indian tradition of unity through music also raises many questions. Unity with whom? Is it unity with the family? Is it unity with society? Is it unity with ourselves? Is it unity with the divine? I think that all of these are important, because music is one of the great gifts to the human race. And wherever, in all the texts that you see, there is mention of the importance of music. Yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tashtami narada. Sri Aurobindo has a marvelous line, all music is only a sound of his laughter. Plato, in the West, musical training is a more potent instrument than any other, because rhythm and harmony find their way into the inward places of the soul, imparting grace. Shakespeare, the man that hath no music in himself, nor is not moved with concord of sweet sounds, is fit for treasons, stratagems, and spoils. And Santayana writes, music is like mathematics, very nearly a world by itself. It contains a whole gamut of experience, from sensuous elements to ultimate intellectual and spiritual harmonies. And therefore music has this extraordinary capacity, whether you are alone or in a group, whether you are at home or abroad, whether you are in sorrow or in joy, whether you are young or whether you are old, whether you are a man or a woman, whatever the circumstance may be, music is always there to sustain you. Because music is a universal healer. There's a healing power in music which is very, very significant. And therefore, when we seek unity, I think the unity is ultimately with our deeper selves. Because music leads us into the deeper parts of our own personality. And along with music comes dance. Because dance and music are inseparable. And the whole of the cosmos is in a way a dance. The cosmic dance of Shiva. I will in a minute release a book on the Nataraja. Nrityavasane Natarajarayo Nanada Dhakkam Nama Panchavaram Uddhartu Kaman Sanakadi Siddhan Hetat Vimarshe Shiva Sutra Jala. Because of the Dabru of Shiva, the 14 syllables, the whole of our language has emerged. And the dance, the Nataraja is a symbol of the dance of the universe, because everything is in motion. Whether it is the stately waltz of the galaxies, billions of light years away, or the frenetic rock and roll of the subatomic particles, every single thing is in movement. Samyak samsarati. And therefore, the most ideal symbol of this, to my mind, is Nataraja. And what I did a few years ago, many people have written on the Nataraja, including Professor Shiva Ramamurthy, whom you must have met, who is a great scholar. We gave him a Jawaharlal Nehru Fellowship for that. But there was no good book in Hindi on the Nataraja. So I asked a young scholar, Kamal Kishore Mishra, to do a book on the Nataraja, which he did. And that book has now been translated into English by Shobhana Narayan, the famous Kathak dancer. So that book today I'm going to present. Is there somebody who can bring me this book? Well, no, I'm just holding up a book for you. It is called Nataraja, Divine Dance of the Cosmos. It is a beautifully illustrated book, and I hope it will introduce the Nataraja to a wider audience. I find that it is only in South India that the Nataraja is really worshipped, in Chidambaram and in the other great temples there. So I was the first one, Panditji, to build a Nataraja temple in North India. In Jammu, in the prangan of the Raghunath temple, I built a Nataraja temple there. So if you go to Jammu, you can see it there. Then I built a small Nataraja temple in South India in a pyramid. For the first time we combined a pyramid with Nataraja. the great artifact of the Egyptians and the great artifact of the Hindus. And that's a beautiful combination. And I've said Natarajas abroad. There's one in Virginia which revolves, it's on a revolving mechanism. So it is the only Nataraja that actually moves. When you press a button, it takes one revolution per minute. So this is a great form. It represents the entire gamut of our existence. The drum is the Shabda Brahma, as was mentioned. The sound, the original sound from which everything emerged. The fire is the Damagni, where ultimately in the great cycles of time, everything will dissolve. But if there were only those two, then there was no place for us. There are two other hands. One hand is raised in the Abhaya Mudra, do not fear. And the second hand points to his upraised foot as the path to salvation. So between the Big Bang and the Big Crunch, shall we say, we have the possibility of spiritual development of each individual human being. I'm not sure, I don't think the Natarajas particularly worshipped in Bengal, but I do feel that this is in fact, if I was to choose one artifact of Indian iconography, I think it would have to be a Nataraja. I've sent a Nataraja to the World Health Organization. I've sent them all over the world. I don't know why, I must have been a Chola in my past life, because I come from the far north. We never heard of the Nataraja. But I love the Nataraja, I love the South Indian Carnatic music, the Hindola, the Hamsadhwani, the Mohanam, the Ragas, I love the food. Some Puru Janma Sanskara is the only explanation that I can think of. And it's interesting that somebody from Kashmir has to come all the way down to Tamil Nadu to build a temple to Nataraja. But it shows the unity of India again. Because Shiva is a pan-Indian deity, worshipped in the Himalayas, which are his original abode, all the way down to the south and from the east to the west, everywhere, in so many different manifestations. Therefore, I would like to, is there something book you want to open actually? Should I release the book now? Now I'm going to formally release the book. It is the Nataraja that releases us. And I must mention, the book is due to three people: Kamal Kishore Mishra, the author, Shobhana Narayan, and my good friend Sanjay Arya of the Shubhi publication. Please give him a big hand. What would you like to do? You want to Swamiji? ऊपर ही बैठो, पीछे से जगह है कुर्सी. That's what you think. And Sanjay Arya has gone out of his way and taken a great deal of trouble to produce the book, first in Hindi. Hindi means that nobody knows about the Nataraja at all. At least in Bengal, people must have some idea about it. But in the north, they had no idea whatsoever. But now, this is a book that is available, and there are two Swamis. We give one book to each of you, because we can't afford to offend either of the two great Swamis who are here. And let me therefore, Sanjay, come and sit behind us. Let me therefore say that in the end, the unity that we seek is unity with our deeper selves. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe tishtati. The Lord resides in the heart of all beings. And that Lord is there, clearly in the Upanishads. Hiranamaya pare moshe, virijam brahma nishkalam, tat shubhram jyotisham jyotis, tatat atma vido vidu. It's very clearly described where it is, what it is like, how you can access it. And it is only after you access it that you can say, Vedaham ekam purusham mahantam aditya varanam tamasapar. That is the stage we have to reach. That is the real unity. When we can say that, I have seen that great being shining like 1,000 suns beyond the darkness. And I can say that inside the furthest golden sheath, Hiranamaya Pare Koshe, Virijam Brahma Nishkalam. There the luminous Brahman resides. And as Swami Vivekananda always used to say, the spiritual quest does not mean that you stop working. In fact, there's another verse in the Upanishads which is very evocative. Atmarati, Atma Krida, Kriyavan, Esha Brahma Vidham Varishta. One who is sporting in the self, who is enjoying in the self, but who is Kriyavan, who is active. Esha Brahma Vidham Varishta. He is the greatest of the knowers of Brahma. And therefore, Swamiji's message to the Ramakrishna mission, Atmana Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Ja, is tremendously important. And in this day and age, when we face all sorts of problems, if you can grasp the importance of the inner spiritual quest and the outer service to society and humanity, we may be able to finally move towards a more sane and harmonious global society. And in that process, I'm sure that music, in all its many manifestations, will always be a great source of support, of inspiration, and of power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karan Singh, for such insightful words on the unity of our music. I shall now request Professor Amlan Dasgupta for the concluding remarks and proposing the formal vote of thanks.
Good morning. It is my pleasant duty to propose first a vote of thanks to all those who have made this seminar possible. First of all, to the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, which has organized this conference in this magnificent manner, to Swami Sarvabhutanandaji, to Swami Bhajananandaji, who are on the stage here, spoken so inspiringly this morning, to all the monks, Swamijis and Matajis who are present here today, all the educationists and scholars who have responded to the call of the seminar organizers, to those who have led this effort of getting this seminar together, principally Pandit Vijay Kishlu and Pandit Abhijit Banerjee and Pandit Sanjay Banerjee and others who have co-members of the seminar organizing committee. Dr. Karan Singh, who has spoken to us and revealed to us, perhaps made the theme of the seminar come alive for us. To him, to all those who have come and are participating in this seminar, all our learned speakers, and to everybody in the audience, I, on behalf of, I do not know exactly where I stand, but on behalf of us all, I offer you thanks. I shall just say a few words. Much has been said already. I think that the theme of this seminar, its purpose, has been made evident to us, and why such a subject is of such great relevance to us today is clear and apparent to us. Swami Sarvabhutanandaji, in his opening comments, he pointed out the purpose of this seminar, how this came to be organized. And Swami Bhajanandaji Maharaj, he showed us by his analysis of both Swamiji's thinking and of the message of Indian philosophy, the ways in which we may think of music as means of union with the divine. Pandit Vijay Kishluji, who pointed out to us, I mean, what I just pick up one thing which from his insightful talk, which I think is very, very important, is the way that he presented to us the significance of the kind of syncretic and synthetic power of music through the Bhakti and Sufi movements, this tremendous power of synthesis and union which music showed. Of course, I will not even presume to summarize what Dr. Karan Singh said must be very clear in your minds. But one point I think which I'd like to draw upon for a minute is the way in which he showed us the centrality of music in all aspects of cultural life. And I would like to say a couple of things about that afterwards, but I should also first thank Pandit Abhijit Banerjee for setting, as it were, the theme of the seminar and its broad contours, its possibilities out to us. On the occasion of the 150th birth anniversary of Swamiji, I think that it is good to think of the fact that even in this parlous state of affairs where so much seems to be out of sorts in our everyday life, I think I think that we will all agree that still in our lives there is a lot of music. And in India, I think that in whatever form of activity, for whatever form of activity, there is a song somewhere, somehow. And this song animates, in some sense, holds us together. And from wherever people get together, there is a song for all kinds of occasions, and I think that is one of the great things. A friend of mine visiting from abroad was in fact struck by this aspect that wherever he went, at whatever occasion, somebody or the other, if he sat together with friends, after a while somebody would sing a song. And he said that he quoted a comment from Dr. Johnson and said, "You are like a nest of singing birds." It's a very beautiful, beautiful line. I'm reminded of this today. One point that perhaps I can emphasize, that if one looks at, and this may be some point worth considering, if you look at the musical texts which have been handed down and sung and lovingly learned, taught from generation to generation, it is really an amazing body of material when one looks at it, because it is really a point in which one sees various kinds of differences as it were being reconciled. It's already been said, and I think it is bears repeating, that this is one thing which was handed down by Muslim ustads to Hindu disciples, by Hindu pandits to Muslim disciples. And the songs that were sung in praise of Nijamuddin Auliya and of the other Sufi saints and equally of Hindu gods and goddesses are carried equally and given equal weight and have equal importance in the lives of the musical of all those who have a stake in this interchange and exchange of musical knowledge and musical ideas. And I think that it is this that we might celebrate on this occasion, this great occasion of Swamiji's 150th anniversary. I thank you all once again, and I sincerely hope that we shall have a splendid seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ambulan Dasgupta. Friends, that brings us to the close of the inaugural session of this two-day seminar. We have a very short break of about half an hour now. We request all present in this auditorium to kindly be with us in the foyer, just beneath this auditorium, where we shall have a small tea session, after which we begin the next academic session at 11:45, where under the chairmanship of revered Swami Bodhisattvanandaji Maharaj, and I would request all of you to be here around that time, but not later than 11:45. Thank you very much for being such a wonderful audience at the inaugural session. Dimension this year, this being the sesquicentenary of the great Swami Vivekananda, who dreamt of unity as opposed to dissension. And he himself was such a musician, such a brilliant musician. So the way that music has unified India, has unified communities in India, creeds, sects in India, like nothing else. I think it's very relevant that we pay homage to Vivekananda this year by organizing such lovely seminars. We are proud and privileged to have the presence of Srimad Swami Bodhisattvanandaji Maharaj, Adhyaksh of the Advaita Ashram, one of the few organizations of the Ramakrishna Mountain Mission that Swami Vivekananda founded himself. The Advaita Ashram, as you know, located tucked away in the hills in Mayavati, the publication wing of the Ramakrishna Mountain Mission, so ably chaired by Swami Bodhisattvanandaji Maharaj. So the first academic session, coordinated by Srimad Swami Bodhisattvanandaji Maharaj, it's my proud privilege to hand over the proceedings of this session to Swami Bodhisattvanandaji Maharaj.
Namaskar. Welcome to all of you to this session. In the morning, at 10 o'clock, we had the inaugural ceremony in which great dignitaries like Swami Bhajananji Maharaj, Dr. Karan Singh, Pandit Vijay Kumar Kichlu, and Ambulan Dasgupta and Pandit Abhijit Banerjee participated. Now we start with the second session, that is in which we have two speakers here, Swami Kripakarananda and Swami Sarvaganandaji. Both of them are accomplished musicians. They have made a name for themselves and their music has been highly appreciated. To mark the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, we must first of all, we must congratulate the Ramakrishna Mission, Institute of Culture, Golpa, for organizing this seminar on Indian traditions in search of unity through music. As all of you know, that Swami Vivekananda was himself a great musician. Not only he, his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna, had also great fascination for music. Not only music, he was a great dancer also, he was a painter, he was a sculptor also. So I will not take much of your time because we are already late by 10 minutes. I will request Swami Kripakarananda to speak on Swamiji's musical inheritance. Then afterwards, Swami Sarvaganandaji will speak on legacy of Indian music and Swami Vivekananda. So I invite Swami Kripakaranandaji to speak on Swamiji's musical inheritance.
Thank you, Swamiji. With your kind permission, I would like to present the whole presentation with few demonstration inside in the musical platform, so seeking your blessings and permission. It's a unique privilege to convey our humble regards to Swami Vivekananda, not only because of the 150th birth anniversary, but always and ever, and it will be the best one if you can offer ourselves at the feet of Swamiji every moment of our life. It's a great privilege to share our thoughts with the great musicians and music lovers and lovers of Swamiji. I have to speak on the musical inheritance of Swami Vivekananda. It includes three things. First is music. Second is the inheritance of music. And third one is who is concerned with this inheritance? None other than Swami Vivekananda. So we will discuss this thing in three important heads as mentioned in the topic of discussion. It's a vast thing of music and still more broad and profound, the music of Swami Vivekananda, which is not very much discussed, as the whole gamut of Indian musical tradition and history is not discussed. But as we know, don't discuss our mother, taking for granted that mother is our everything, and we always depend upon mother. Similarly, it is the very strong life force of India from eternity. Starting from the Vedic age, even today. The most profound part of the discussion will be perhaps a very important point which has been so much evident that we never discuss it. One small thing I will tell you. Swami Vivekananda, since his meeting with Sri Ramakrishna, in every point of his life, in every bend of his critical moment, in his spiritual attainments, even at the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, then in the days of wanderings, the hardest day of the life of any human being, we have seen music was saturated in their lives. The first meeting, the acceptance of Shakti, whenever Narendra will come to Dakshineshwar, a feast of music has to happen. We know Sri Ramakrishna said, Shiva Jnani Jiva Seva, and Swamiji said, I have got a profound light today, and I will show the world the new expression of Vedanta. And whole